Hello. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to EPR Magazine interactive session on modernizing Indian substations, powered by Altanova Group. India is the third largest energy consumer in the world. However, facilitating delivery of reliable and quality power and providing access to electricity for all remain challenging. Though efforts are being made around power quality improvement to reduce losses, it is believed that modernization of substations will contribute to India's energy needs. Also, substation automation can help to achieve optimal productivity while keeping cost and safety incidents at a minimum by reducing human intervention. So in next 1.5 hours, you are going to witness an engaging interactive session on modernizing Indian substations. Apart from in-depth discussion on the benefits of substation modernization, our panelists will talk about the scope for digital substations in meeting the country's energy requirement. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel privileged to introduce you to today's distinguished speakers. We have with us today Mr. K.N. Srikumar, Business Unit Head for Digital Grid Business for South Asia in Smart Infrastructure of OPCO at Siemens. Then Mr. Akilur Rahman, who is Chief Technology Officer for Hitachi ABB Power Grids India. And Mr. Imtiaz Siddiqui, Regional Area Manager for South Asia and GCC countries at Altanova Group. Welcome, all of you, sir. We thank our sponsor, Altanova Group, for this session. Altanova offers a wide range of diagnostic and monitoring equipment for electrical assets in the field of power generation, transmission, and distribution, networks, and process industries. Altanova Group includes two leading manufacturers from Italy, the ISA and Techim, and one from USA, that is IntelliShaw. Altanova serves customers in more than 100 countries and operates local offices in Germany, US, India, Singapore, Panama, Dubai, and Brazil. So delegates, get ready to witness an engaging session on modernizing Indian substations powered by Altanova Group. To take the session forward, I would like to invite Mr. K.N. Srikumar. In his more than 3 decades of service, most of it with Siemens, Srikumar has a diverse set of business experiences across verticals. Srikumar is currently the business unit head for digital grid business for South Asia in smart infrastructure of OPCO at Siemens. He is the driving force behind the success of the diverse and growing portfolio of the Siemens smart grid products, systems, and solutions across industries and utilities in South Asia market. Today, Mr. Srikumar will be discussing about the benefits of substation modernization. So let's welcome Mr. Srikumar. Welcome, sir.
The topic here is modernizing Indian substation. A modern substation, it has many elements. My focus is a little bit more on the secondary side of it. A substation, all of us know, is what controls and directs power to various parts of the network. And a modern substation, in my opinion, should be one that can improve the flexibility and responsiveness of transmission and distribution grids by capturing and also using the accurate real-time information, and also based on that then improve the control, improve the grid stability, and also make the grid responsive to changing grid conditions, which currently with a lot of various, let's say, dynamics, including those posed by renewable energy and also changing mix of customers and all that. So this is what a modern substation should, in my opinion, do. Besides that, another point which could improve in a modern substation as compared to not so modern is that it could also use less resources, especially precious resources, which like copper, which is obtained by digging the earth deep, which is not really an ecologically friendly method of getting, let's say, resources. So using less copper would also mean, in my opinion, another facet of a modern substation. And that's how I would like to put it. And this would mean that we are talking about subjects like digital substation, digital twin, and stuff like this. Let me try to cover it in a let's say, in the time available in a fast manner. So let me switch first to what could be a digital substation. A digital substation, first of all, is digitalization at station level. So this is nothing new. In India, more than 10 years have now seen digital protection and automation with station bus based 61850, IC 61850 standard based substation automation systems have been prevalent in India since more than 10 years. And it is now more or less a de facto standard for transmission substations. Distribution substation still has to adopt it more and more, but it's already very widely used. Is nothing new about it. What could be relatively new is digitalization of process level, which means use of non-conventional instrument transformer. I mean, you could call it NCIT or LPIT. LPIT meaning low power instrument transformers, which provide primary values to the merging unit, and then the merging unit which converts the analog primary values of the LPITs in digital information, sampled measured values, and also then connect it to a process bus. Yeah. Going forward, it also means that these topics now would then be available also to connect to IoT for applications involving big data and all that, which means that all this should also be very cyber secure. I mean, cyber security should be a key. A lot of Siemens devices already provide high end features on cyber security, and that's increasing need for a modern digital substation. Asset management is another one. I mean, with a lot of data acquisition, intelligent central and decentral applications can be deployed, and also new and let's say improved sensors, whether it is to collect information from transformer, information from circuit breaker, or many other topics around the substation. These data can also be used to perform better asset management. That's another one, which is a facet of digital substation. And also using all that to improve the grid operation. Like I said in the beginning, one of the, let's say, important functions of a modern substation should also be its ability to be flexible and also be responsive to the increasing needs of the grid operation. So grid operation is another one which a digital substation can, let's say, help improve. And also integrated engineering, which means you now have a possibility to do the engineering of the entire substation using a process bus standard, and also then do tests, configuration, maintenance, and all much more efficiently. And like Mr. Roy said, it also fulfills the requirement that it is much more safe now, rather than, let's say, using a conventional technology where open circuit CTs and all that could pose difficulties. So all that is what digital substation could do. I mean, if you look briefly at the value proposition, if you look from the left bottom, you start with the primary part of the substation and move up to process level. Typically, you use a lot of copper cable to connect it, point-to-point connections, connections from CTs and VTs to the marshalling kiosk. I mean, distances depend on how your substation design is, but it could be in the range of 5 to 30 meter plus connections. A lot of kilometers of copper cable actually is consumed in connecting this. Then you connect the process level from marshalling kiosk to a bay level, which could be bay level devices, relays, let's say BCUs and stuff like that, which is again typically 100-meter range. Of course, exact lengths would depend on your substation construct. And bay level to station level, even now, especially for transmission substations, is already, I mean, using less copper, but up to bay level, a lot of copper is still used. And when you move to the right and see what is in the digital substation, if you could see my cursor, you already see the green part, which means these parts are already becoming, let's say, whether you use an NCIT or a optical CT, whatever, then you already get digital information from that. You connect it to a merging unit, the circuit breaker status and control commands and inputs. then the whole thing becomes more digital, and that's why it's also shown in a green color. And then you connect it to a merging unit, and from there it is available to a process bus for performing all the functions required. And on the middle, on the table, we have, let's say, also tried to picture what could be a value proposition, which means the fundamental engineering, basic concept and design remains same, because electrical engineering in a substation has not changed. Yeah, but project management means building a substation requires similar project management efforts to manage it. Substation automation engineering will improve because a lot of now topics are automated rather than let's say connections by copper cables and all. Panel and cable engineering comes down, and you can see, I don't want to go through each one. A lot of efforts on engineering, commissioning, testing and all come down. What is on the light green color, it becomes less in a digital substation, and you use much less copper, but a little bit more fiber cable for the Ethernet connections in and around the substation. So overall, what I mean, you can see on the picture on the right side, what is thing of the past is huge bunches of copper cable, control cables used inside the switch yard, inside the control cubicle, protection control cubicle, everywhere. All of this can be, I mean, significantly reduced when you use a concept like this. And also let's say for that reason it reduces capex. You can see the benefits: lower substation, let's say, footprint, higher performance, improved safety, interoperability. I guess this is very correctly put by Mr. Roy when he started introducing the subject. I don't know whether you read my slide already, though I didn't share it. So this is exactly how digital substation could help. Moving on to another topic, which is then see, a lot of this data is also useful to connect and be available for applications which are involving, let's say, Internet of Things, IoT based applications. We use a SciCam Grid Edge technology for connecting to through via Microsoft Azure Cloud or a MindSphere technology of Siemens. And from there, we already have applications which can provide a lot of, let's say, visibility to the substation. We call it a CPROTEC dashboard, where you can see all the devices, the fault data, and a lot of things are available even to operators on a mobile. So this is real-time data available to people, which is difficult without technology coming in. So this is another part of a modern substation, that it is making data available to you, and facilitates big data based programs. And the other part on a modern substation is to be able to use digital twins. A digital twin, we already have technology. For example, on CPROTEC 5 device, we have a digital twin which can, let's say, give you practically the same device is available digitally. You can do a lot of quality checks, virtual testing, all that can be done. It also substantially reduces the commissioning time, improves, let's say, efficiency, and also fast and realistic fault diagnostics. So that's also now possible with a digital twin. This is already technology available. And I mean, moving on to a distribution substation, often transmission substations do get a lot of attention, let's say, investments and all. Digital substations get neglected. So this is a typical intelligent secondary distribution substation, which I have shown, with an RA ring main unit mounted with intelligent devices, which through which we can actually, if you move on the left side, it's a screen which shows on a map where these ring main units are, and what is the power flow, and where is the where exactly is a faulted portion, which means a crew can attend complaint much faster, and more or less on real time this can be performed, which improves the availability of power significantly. That's on the medium voltage grid. And moving on to the right side, on the low voltage side, similar topics can also be done by using technology, and we use a app which we call it as grid diagnostics suite, with a SciCam Navigator. That's the app which we use, which can also provide a lot of transparency to location of fault, the, let's say, magnitude, and a lot of other features, which helps the grid operator to be able to manage the grid efficiently and also be able to deliver power, improve the power availability and quality in a significant manner.
So I would like to start with a very high level trend and technologies in the energy value chain. If you look at utilities, industry, transport, infrastructure, on utility side, we are, just refreshing that we are moving to more and more renewables and making the digital grid, energy internet. And on the industry side, Industry 4.0, collaborative, flexible manufacturing, real-time optimization. And infrastructure side, we have smart city, electric mobility, mobility as a service. So these are the things which are very important, very big, topics, trends in the industry. And if you look at energy is a common denominator here, and also the substation is very important. You start from generating the power and evacuating the power to the grid and receive the power, whether it's industry, infrastructure, or transport, or whatever. You receive the power through the substation. So it's the very, very important link, a key enabler for the energy value chain. And that is how it is getting transformed with core technologies, with automation, digitalization. So it's very important piece of the technology which is in the power and energy domain. So looking at our conventional substation, so Mr. Srikumar talked about how we have automated, we have the SCADA, we have the intelligent electronic devices, they are connected. So this has been there for long, it has been there for several decades, and we are also converting them into 61850, the digital substation. But what is also important is that we are adding more and more technologies to it to get higher benefits out of it. So for example, we are putting more sensors in the primary equipment, in the automation, and also gateway, so that we can parallelly take the data to the cloud, and we can do the analysis of that data, make the data available to different experts, people and stakeholders, across the value chain, and combine the data also with different market data, user demand, weather forecasting, so that we can make the system more efficient, make the asset more efficient, and also performing more efficiently. And this also gives us opportunity to use digital technologies. So digital technologies in terms of you talk about cloud computing, you have the sensors, you have the digital twin Mr. Srikumar talked about, and also data analytics. In addition to the process analytics, the data analytics which happens in the conventional substation, in the substation. So we are also doing additionally this. Basically here to ensure that we get some benefit out of it in terms of improving the asset and operation performance management, productivity improvement, reliability, quality, asset health, energy efficiency, safety. So it's all related to the very measurable performances in terms of KPIs. And we are also talking about technologies like 4G. We are talking about 5G now coming, and also the blockchain technology, which is coming for the energy transaction. And so if you see this, how the substation is getting modernized more and more, not only on the conventional side, on the core domain side, but also on the IoT, on the digitalization side, to get more and more benefit out of it. And so I'm not getting into the details. Mr. Srikumar already talked about digital substation, how it is reducing the footprint of the substation in terms of having less copper, having less number of cubicles, and also a lot of benefit in terms of reduced time, commissioning time, and engineering time. But looking at how the equipment, the conventional equipment in a substation, they are getting transformed. This is one example of a transformer where all these different components of a transformer, they are getting now more smarter in terms of having smart sensors, but also communicable sensors, so that the data can be available in the SCADA, in the cloud system, and then you can do the real-time asset performance management. So this is how it is getting transformed. So These are the technologies are already there. I think it can be also done in the existing substation, in the existing assets, depending on how they are connected in the system, criticality of them. And the other example is like switchgear. So how we can have the smart sensors in the switchgear. This is another example. We take the data and we take the data to the gateway, and then the data is available to the cloud, to the software server systems, where we can have the visualization of the data, we can have analysis of the data to improve the performance of the equipment, the asset, and also have predictive analytics, predictive maintenance kind of scenario. And here, having the data available, we also build a model which is called asset health performance model of any equipment. Like is this transformer, we get the data, offline data, SCADA, data from the SCADA about this transformer, online sensor data, and then having that, we create a model which is sort of giving you a single number, for example, asset health index, which tells you that, okay, if it is 10, it is healthy. If it is 5, 6, it is, maybe in a warning condition, maybe it can fail or malfunction in a couple of weeks or months. Or if it is, 0, 1, then it's almost failed, or it's, is about to fail. So this kind of information is important for the operators, owners, operators, so that they can take proactive action to reduce the interruption because of the failure, because of the malfunction, and also find out the detect the anomalies, have predict the failures, and also have the spare part management system in place with all this information. So it's not just about having the data available through this digitalization, but also analyzing and having the actionable information from there. And so looking at different type of assets, you can have all these online sensors, you can have the gateways by which you can collect the data, you can put it to the SCADA historian, then you get this asset performance management applications, which will give you more predictability in the assessment of the condition of the equipment. And so here again, looking at the substation, having all these smart equipment, smart sensors in place. Individually, we collect the data about the assets. We do the prediction about their malfunctioning or maybe failure. But also very important that how we do it holistically. So the reliability of asset is not only important, but also the entire system, whether it's a feeder or bay or entire substation. So I think this again helps the technology here, which basically takes the data from the entire asset base and also have the connectivity of the assets, the system level data, and then gives you the reliability index of the system, whether it's a base, substation, or feeder. And then it's not only just few assets, but the entire system, how reliability is. So it can also place the constituent assets in different zones, whether they're in red or orange or green. And when it comes to renewable energy, I think it's important that how we can look at the entire ecosystem of the energy, right from the conventional energy to the renewables, whether they are in a utility scale renewable solar plant or whether they are on the rooftop. And also there are, the electric vehicles are coming, they are connected to the grid. And so all these things again can be sort of connected in terms of data communication, data transfer, take the data to the cloud, have the prediction, have the forecasting of the renewable energy generation, have the forecast of the load so that you can manage the system better. So here again, how to ensure that the downtime is reduced. So it should be zero. I think in addition to the electrical connectivity, this kind of connectivity, data communication, data connectivity to the cloud and analytics, as I said, outside also the conventional SCADA system helps us to make the system better. And so this kind of system, again, connecting the renewables with the conventional power, whether it is island utility or it's a remote community or industrial commercial facility or urban communities. So we can have this mix of different energy, and then the substation can actually have this kind of integration platform where all these can be integrated, including the asset performance management and also prediction of the load, prediction of the generation, and then reduce the gap which can lead to any failure or interruption in the system, and also have the system, the simulation of the system assets together, including asset performance management, to ensure that although your assets are good, but during the system operating condition, it doesn't lead to any sort of malfunction or failure. So this is again providing a platform where you can have all the data together in different time scale and do this integrated asset performance as well as system operation management. So not getting into the details, there are technologies, also other technologies which are getting used today in substation, like we have this submersible robo, which is used in a big transformer for inspection without evacuating the transformer with the oil. I mean, taking out the oil, you can put this robot and it goes inside and does the inspection. So that way you can reduce the downtime of the transformer. You don't have to evacuate the oil. You can still do it. And the digital twin, Mr. Srikumaran talked about, whether it's a system level or product, device level, these are there to actually verify how your system is operating in terms of the design value. You can have sensors, you can do the online check of how this is getting, used in the system. And so we are also now having virtual reality application. You can have a walkthrough of the substation without going to the substation physically, and you can really see all the equipment, the system. You can also do the measurement. You can also link it with the asset, the real-time information of that substation as well as assets. And for example, this is a substation where this is augmented reality application where the engineer, whether it's a service engineer or maintenance engineer, he's going there with the tab and he is just projecting the tab on top of the transformer or equipment, and it says that this is a transformer. And then he can see the 3D model of the transformer. He can see the thermal electromagnetic profiles of the transformer as it has been designed. It can also see the asset performance health index of that particular transformer on the same tab. So basically having integrated information available. And also he can see the thermography. If it has been done for that transformer, he can also see that. He can compare with the design value, and he can also see all different type of information, documentation, data about that transformer. And if you would like to also understand more, to do some troubleshooting or repair, he can also connect to the remote expert through this app. So this is the app which provides the entire, it's a culmination of different digital technologies and also conventional, the core technology, to actually improve the performance of the transformer, at the same time making the action of the engineer more better. So it's not only just one substation. I think fleet of substation, when you can see them in the fleet, you can get into what are the equipment or substation they have failed, or maybe they're in warning condition, whether they're healthy. And you can zoom into a particular substation. You can see that whether maybe it's a transformer which has failed, and then you can see the feeder where the transformer is in, and then you can see the transformer operating parameters, the insulation parameter, dual triangle. You can see its asset health model, how it has been, this specific transformer has been operating. You can also compare with the digital twin of the transformer to see. And finally, it is also, we are using a lot of digital technologies on top of the SCADA. And here, cyber security is very important. Mr. Srikumar also said that. So how do you secure the entire system? I mean, we have different layers of the cybersecurity, defense in depth, and different solutions available by which we can prevent any cybersecurity incident. We can monitor, we can also isolate the system. We can have also sort of course, before doing this, we also do the threat modeling, ensuring that what are the different possible threats and how they can be protected by the system. I think modernization, if we talk about in summary, it's about the technology, the automation core technologies, what we have. but also extending that system with the digitalization, making the data available to the larger pool of experts in the enterprise, outside the enterprise, in the entire ecosystem, and also making them secure. I think by that we can definitely improve the performance of the assets, improve the performance of the substation, and also have more energy, availability, efficiency of energy in the utility and systems.
So now, in this session of EPR Magazine webinar on modernizing Indian substations powered by Altanova Group, I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Akilur Rahman. Welcome, sir. Mr. Rahman is the Chief Technology Officer for Hitachi ABB Power Grids India, leading the technology giant's core technologies and digitalization strategy and execution for its power grids business in the region. Hitachi Power Grids is a global leader in power technologies and aspires to be the partner for choice for enabling a stronger, smarter, and greener grid. Today, Mr. Rahman will talk on how substation modernization can play a critical role in enabling renewable energy integration to power grid. So let's welcome Mr. Rahman. Welcome, sir. Test and measurements instruments play a very critical role in substation operations. To talk on this particular topic, I would invite industry expert, Mr. Imtiaz Siddiqui. Mr. Imtiaz is a well-known name in the Indian power sector. He has more than 25 years of experience in the power and energy sector. At present, he is heading the operations of Altanova Group as Regional Area Manager for South Asia and GCC countries. He is an active member of various technical bodies in power and energy sector, including IMA, SIGRA India, and IEEE. Now, Mr. Imtiaz will explain the role of T&M instruments in substation modernization. So delegates, let's welcome Mr. Imtiaz Siddiqui.
I'm really glad that you have given me this opportunity to be together with Mr. Akilur Rahman and Mr. K.N. Srikumar. They are domain experts, they are industry experts in their field. And I'm not such an expert, but definitely whatever they have said so far, we play a small role in that. All their substation automation projects and processes, we are the collaborators. We as Altanova Group makes instruments which help them in identifying and doing the diagnostics of all these latest technology that they are doing in their system. So basically, I would say that as a test and measuring equipment manufacturer, we are partnering with them to help them test and help them in identifying the probable problems that could be, creating any kind of hiccup in the monitoring of these projects. So basic idea is, as both have said this, the idea is to move from wired technology to wireless technology. The idea is to move from routine maintenance to condition-based monitoring, and to basically reduce the human intervention as long as these substations are working properly. Whatever is the asset class, whatever is the voltage level, whatever is the industry, we are contributing and collaborating with these OEMs to provide the software and the sensors to basically make their dream come true. So say, for example, Mr. Akil talked about transformer monitoring system. So within our group, we have within TechImp, we make sensors which can take all the inputs from these smart transformers and give them the numbers through which they can do the health indexing. So like say, for example, our equipment can do the tan delta monitoring, can do the partial discharge monitoring, can also take inputs from the DGA with the gases which are coming out of, because of the faults in the transformer. So then, it is communicating through our software, and then finally we are integrating it with their systems in the SCADA and give the pre-information to the OEMs to tell their customers that what could be the their maintenance strategy for maintaining these assets. And every assets are different. Similarly, we have equipment which does the same for GIS substations, say, for example, because the parameters in GIS is entirely different from the parameters in transformer. So in GIS, you also need to monitor the density of gas. You also need to monitor the operation timing of circuit breaker closing and opening time, etc. Similarly, for rotating machines, we have equipment which can do the monitoring. Coming back to the different substation assets, say for example, for switchgear, we have products and technology which can help, maintaining the or monitoring the temperature and the humidity of low voltage and medium voltage switchgear. Because many times, if there is a loose connection or if there is any kind of problem inside the panel box, unless the temperature starts increasing and unless we are able to monitor that, we will not be able to get a pre-information about the failure. So the idea of all this technology is to primarily, increase the condition and of the assets which are very expensive. And these assets are not only expensive, but these assets are also very important because one problem in one part of a transformer can lead the entire transformer fail and subsequently other equipment in the chain will be facing the problem. So the idea is to make everything in such a way that it can run smoothly without human intervention and for a longer time.
Energy consumption in India in the past decade has increased at a CAGR of more than 5% and is expected to rise by more than 4% annually in future. In this context, I have a question for Mr. Srikumar just to start the panel discussion. Could you tell us how digital substation can contribute to India's energy needs?
So, like I mentioned before, digital substations would improve, first of all, the flexibility and responsiveness of the grid, of the transmission and distribution grid, because we capture a lot of accurate real-time data. So whether it is in the form of measured data which is coming out of the instrument transformers, the status of the circuit breakers or other assets in the system, the detailed data of transformers and other assets, which I think Mr. Rahman also mentioned in more detail. So this, let's say, gives us a very good visibility to the substation, and also substation being a key and critical component, but let's say point of the network where all this data is possible to be collected, and this in turn gives us let's say better control, better ability to improve the stability of the grid, and also react quickly in terms of any let's say any changes in the grid. And the grid currently is becoming increasingly more dynamic, no? Whether it is in the sources of power coming into the grid, with whether it is renewable energy with very little reactive power contribution, whether it is in a lot of load which has harmonics and stuff like that. I mean, it's you can go on talking about how complex the grid and how frequently it changes. And so this would be a big task and possibility with digital substation with a lot of data available, and this data can also be used currently to perform a lot of other functions, using whether it is asset performance, whether it is predictive maintenance, whether it is many other things. So that's where digital substation would help in India to first fulfill our dream to be having 24/7 power to everyone, and also then making sure that this power is more, let's say, of a power quality is also maintained. And it is also done. India is not a country where we can build up let's say, multiple levels of redundancy in generation and all that. So it also need to be effective in terms of cost. We also need to be very, very, in my opinion, conscious about the footprint we leave on the earth, which also means modern digital substations also help reduce a lot of, let's say, not only the footprint on the ground, or make it also better in terms of using less copper, using improved safety, because also, let's say, the digitalization also helps reduce accidents. You don't have, let's say, open circuit is a frequent cause of open circuit on the city, is a frequent cause of, let's say, electric incidents in substations. So a lot of benefits you can derive by digital substations in Indian grid.
So Mr. Srikumar has so explained nicely about the basic concept and also the value from the digital substation. I'll just add one point. When we talk about reliability of the grid, I mean, many a times people say reliability is a highly loaded word. I mean, what's the so it's all simple term. You say that the utility owner operators, they don't want any surprise in the system, because it happens sometimes somewhere some asset is failing or some process parameter is not set properly. Because of that, it happens, some interruption in the line, or maybe it leads to blackout, like recently we had. So, but if you see the root cause, it starts from somewhere, some asset or somebody, maybe not able to do properly. So I think if you look traditionally, the substation, it is always the person in the substation, the operator in the substation, who has the control room. He sees everything, and then he whatever way he can actually judge the system, analyze the system, and it is basically, and then being couple of people there, operators there, you can't expect that they can do real in-depth analysis of everything. But having a digital substation today, this real-time data about the process, about the assets, it is also available outside the substation. Maybe the utility headquarters, there are experts sitting, they can also see. There are experts also maybe in another substation of that particular utility, there. So they also can see, they can see the trend, they can see the trigger in real time, saying that, hey, that substation, that particular equipment, maybe transformer, seems very vulnerable. I think that information we are able to get now through the digital substation, because the data is available to the larger set of experts. And that way we can also have prediction models by which we know that, okay, before this transformer, before this circuit breaker fails or malfunctions, we can take do some maintenance and replace it or service it, so that the system, we don't have surprise. So that's the main thing. I think that way we relate it to the reliability, that yes, the system is reliable because we know how it is operating now and how it is going to operate maybe in next few hours and next few days. And not only I think our substation automation SCADA has been more focused on the process, basically the process of power flow, the generation, the protection, control. But now we are also adding this asset performance to this. Because it's not only the process which is important. If even a small asset or equipment or device failing or malfunctioning, that also creates a problem. So how do you also parallelly monitor those assets and then analyze it and then take action, proactive action to contain any failure or interruption? I think that's important. So that's it. That is how we can improve the reliability of the system, of the substation, of the grid.
The more we invest in technology, the more we move towards the digitalization. The collaborative effort will be required. More collaborative effect will be required. Effort will be required, because see, somebody has asked a question about cyber security. See, we electrical engineers do not know anything about cyber security, but when we are digitalizing our substation, we need cyber security. So for that, what we are doing, we are going to collaborate with IT people, IT professionals. So now the interdependence of engineers on each other has become much more than before. Similarly, the OEMs are experts in designing their own products. They can do, a lot of R&D to improve upon their product, but they need the suppliers like us to give them the sensors, because unless we put the sensors inside, they won't be able to get the data. So our sensors, our software, our communication within the transformer or within the GIS gives them relevant information to analyze the health index of the transformer or GIS or rotating machines, whatever assets we are talking about. So all these challenges in the technology brings many domain experts together to give you a solution which is ultimately improving the life of a consumer. So all these uncertainties are removed to improve the life of the consumer who is at the end. Isn't it? If we are able to give you 24/7 supply, you are able to do your work more efficiently, more, with ease. There is no more, the plan for load shedding. Earlier, when I remember when I was a kid, we used to note every day that from when to when electricity will not be there. And you have to plan your day as per the availability of the electricity or power. From there, in last so many years, we have moved from that generation to a generation where the newer generation, there even all the activities are dependent on the availability of internet and the power. So this is how. So for make any system reliable, you need lot of diagnostic solutions, so that whatever these OEMs are defining, designing, or trying to show to the world needs a proper, I would say, collaborator to make their dreams come true.
I think there are examples of industrial parks and also example of utility going for digital substation, because one is that it's not just getting the power from the grid. Many of the, like we had one industrial hub which went for our digital substation. For them, it is not just getting the power from grid that anyway they used to get, and there is a substation there. But their idea is that when they have this substation, and in future, if they are, and also they have already started, having a lot of renewable power, solar power within that industrial hub, industrial park. And also in future, what will happen is e-mobility, electric mobility will come. So they will probably run, some of the buses, vehicles, electric vehicles within the park. And these will be again connected to the system, to the grid. And it's not only just the conventional, let's say I take example of this electric vehicle charging. So it's not a conventional charging where, you put the vehicle or bus or car for 8 hours overnight charging and all. That's a conventional one. But today we are talking about, as Hitachi ABB, we also have fast chargers, ultra fast chargers. Like in 8 minutes, you can charge your car for 200 kilometers. Flash charger, where the bus, electric bus, it can be charged when it stops near the bus stop. For 20 seconds, it can have top-up charging of the bus, so that it doesn't have to always go back to the depot to get charged, because it has to run on the road, because it has to carry more passengers. And having this flash charger also reduces the need of battery inside the bus, so you have more space available in the bus. I think when we talk about flash charger, ultra fast charger, so it draws huge amount of current, impulsive current in from the system. So your substation should be able to sustain it. Yeah, your grid has to sustain it. And how do you do that? How do you predict this? How do you forecast this? That how much vehicle at what point of time you will have suddenly a lot of flash charging, buses getting charged, and then the grid is not able to sustain that surge of power. I think that's the reason why people go for this digital substation, so that you have the data available, real-time data. You can do the analytics. You can also plan for the future, how to expand the grid, how you can bring in more renewable energy inside that small township or maybe industrial city, or the utility, and also bring in the electric vehicles, different type of even rooftop solar, and also fuel cell. So this is all about how you can bring in more mix of energy in future, having the load, having electric mobility, and then substation is the key. I mean, because that basically controls, it takes all the inputs and outputs and then try to manage better. So that way it will also provide reliability to the system, at the same time making it more and more greener. I think that is how the kind of substations we have provided in the industrial environment and also the utility environment. I think uh, the goal and roadmap for that is for the future, basically how to make it more sustainable, more reliable, more predictable, and eliminate risk surprises.
Mr. Srikumar, obviously we'll also have many case studies I know in India. So would you like to mention any specific one which is very remarkable?
Yeah, I mean, I can mention a couple of what could be called as pure play digital substation. I mean, pure play meaning going by the definition of having a merging unit, process bus, and implementation based on the 61859-2 standard.
Right.
That kind of digital substation. So first, not first, so one of them which we have done is for a kind of lab for Power Grid in Manesar, where they want to install this as a place where people can come and understand how uh, this works, and how this technology is really working, because it is also new to people. I mean, you can watch a video on YouTube which shows this implementation of this protection lab at Manesar, where which we have also supported Power Grid in making one. The other one is a commercial substation in Malerkotla, somewhere in the north, in Punjab, which is constructed by Power Grid. I mean, if my information is updated, by now they have also let's say commissioned at least 2 bays in that substation. That's again a substation involving we have delivered the whole system. It involves merging units, process bus based on 61850 and all that. So and also I guess we have also delivered something to Tata Power in Delhi. At least 1 bay they wanted to see how the technology is implemented, which is also done. So overall, these are projects which are actually done in a pure play digital substation. But I mean, if you extend the topic to digitalizing substations, then you can probably talk about many more examples, starting even with secondary distribution, which I showed you, where we have worked with customers in making the digital technology available to even secondary, let's say, distribution grids, by which the customer can see on a, I mean, the grid operators can see on a mobile app, maintenance crew can see on a mobile app where they have a fault and stuff like that. So that's of course extending the argument of what is digital substation, and then many more projects for various customers. But the ones I mentioned at the beginning are more pure play digital substation within the ambit of the standard definition of a digital substation.
Well, I would say that in India we have diverse type of customers. Some customers are definitely very active, as Mr. Srikumar has said. Power Grid, for example, even state utilities like JETCO, they are trying to digitalize their substation. But then there are certain utilities who are not that fast in accepting the technology. So it depends. But ultimately, we all have to move towards that, because the data are real. Everything else is perception. So if we want to decide that what kind of substation is required to cater the requirement of our country 20 years down the line or 10 years down the line. We need to study the data which are coming out of these digital substations to plan our next roadmap. Otherwise, we will not be able to do that. And this is something which is, I think, going to help our country to leap bound grow in our energy sector. Because see, we are a country where our implementation of projects takes many years. So you make a flyover which takes 5 years to complete, and by the time your flyover is ready, the population of the people who will be traveling on that flyover gets double. So when you have data, when you have the numbers, the extrapolation becomes easy, and planning becomes easier. So I think the role of the latest technology in information technology is going to be more and more implemented in even a conventional sector like power or other infrastructure sector, and this is going to give us an edge where we will be able to plan things now which will be able to cater to our need in coming years.
Where does India stands in terms of modernizing its substations? So to start with, could you share your thoughts, Sikumar sir?
My opinion on the transmission side, our let's say technology adoption has been better. Like I said, Power Grid is already looking at implementing process bus based substations. They've already done at least one. There are also other kind of technology being adopted by utilities in, let's say, in making transmission asset management centers. We are doing some projects for some customers where a lot of, let's say, substation assets are captured in a control center of the utility. So this is already happening. What is not happening, in my opinion, is, and that is where we significantly differ from other countries, is the adoption of technology in the distribution side. So distribution is quite rudimentary, or let's say far away from digital in most cases. And in my opinion, that is also where a lot of benefits can come. Yeah, of course, we do have to lay the electricity still passes through a wire, so you need the infrastructure to bring power to the remotest parts of the country. But to make sure that the power is continued to be available and the network is, let's say, available and maintained, you need more digital technologies. And in my opinion, distribution companies need to adopt it more and more. And that's where we need to catch up to the world. And that is also evident in how we perform in terms of availability of electricity to the society. Of course, it has improved, I mean, by leaps and bounds over the years. Like Mr. Imtiaz said, as let's say children, we would have seen hours of power cuts every part of the country, which is not really, I mean, not so much now, but it is, if you compare to any other developed country, even seconds of power not available is a news there. Here, hours of power in a week is still no news. It is more or less, I mean,
We're used to it, yeah.
yes. So that's where, in my opinion, we need to see improvement. And I'm also hopeful that the, let's say, government and the administration is looking into that and bringing in more and more technology and investment into that area.
The knowledge competency is already there. The intent is also there to actually move towards digitalization. So very important we have to understand is that digitalization is on top of the core power system, core automation, core SCADA, core road dispatch center, and having a common one grid, which is already there in our country. I think that way, what Mr. Sikumar also said, I think from the transmission side we are very strong, very well integrated kind of grid we have. And utilities like Power Grid. I think they're always looking for new technology. They're looking for the digital substation, the digitalization of the assets. It has to be done on top of the core without disturbing the core, because many times you do something, because digitalization is more like you are making the data available, and then you can have a lot of apps. You people who try to control the system through that. I think that we should be very careful that we have the core system, we have the conventional, I would say, intranet of things, not internet of things. That is already there in terms of SCADA, network control, network management. So Power Grid has taken some initiative, and also if you see having the one grid, one nation, one grid, and at the same time we are also now interchanging power with our neighboring countries. That's very important, and also having large HVDC lines. For example, we are now executing one line from Raigad to Pugalur. It's like 1,500 kilometers HVDC line, 800 kV. So it's that way the connectivity making the core power system very strong, the core grid very strong. That is there, and at the same time, Mr. Srikumar talked about how Power Grid is also coming up with this asset management they have in Manesar and setting up that system. I think we are going in the right direction. Yes, I think on the distribution side, yes, we are not that ahead, because that's the last mile of power delivery to the consumer, where we lack application of these technologies. But they're also, I think it's all about the commercials of it, how the distribution companies, they can get really return on this if they invest something. I think here it needs very good, I would say, deliberation among all the stakeholders, including the regulatory authorities, the DISCOMs, government, and also technology providers, to come up with some business model by which we can really make it more accountable. It's not about just investing, because I think distribution companies, they have that challenge. They can invest, but there is a regulatory authority, they would like to have justification. But the DISCOMs, if they are not able to recover their revenue, how can they spend, invest? I think this is what it needs, a holistic kind of engagement and discussion forward to bring this, make it accountable. Technologies are there, people are there, good experts are there in the country, whether academics or industry or utility. I think Power Grid has a very, very strong technical team who understands the entire power core domain, and also the digitalization. Like us, we can also come up with the new solutions, how to build on top of that. So it's there. It's all about how we come together and have some deliberation, and also some action in that direction, make it more accountable.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, we are trying to do so. The problem is that we are a country of extremes. On one hand, we have people who are very forward-looking. Then on the other hand, we have people who are very conservative. So bringing them to a middle path is always a challenge for all of us here. But yes, IEEMA is trying to play that role, and also now our regulators are getting more and more active. They are trying to give direction to all these utilities to at least benchmark certain level of technology within their system, so that we are all at par when it comes to the growth of energy and the requirement of energy in our country. But we have a long way to go, and as my co-panelists have also said, distribution, unless and until we are able to digitalize the distribution side of the energy sector, things will still stay where it is. But the problem again is that all our DISCOMs are cash strapped. All our DISCOMs are going through a lot of power thefts. The realization of money is also dependent on the economy of a country. So there are many things. I mean, it's not a straightforward question and a straightforward answer. But definitely, yes, if we have to grow as a country, if we have to grow as a reliable, power supply country, then we need to address these uncomfortable questions to move forward.
So there's a question from Mr. Venugopal. He's asking that, as we know, discoms are cash-strapped. How do you see the investment for digitalization of this distribution infrastructure in the country? Would like to take this question, Mr. Rahman?
Yeah, so I think in my last statement I made that, so this is exactly the problem. So discoms, while they are cash starved, they don't have actually way to make it accountable, although they know that there is a benefit which is going to come, but how to recover basically the revenue from the consumers and all that, that's being the challenge. I think here the regulators, the policymakers play a big role, a very important role to link this, because see, today we are talking about digitalization, modernization. I think all these things we can measure the improvement, measure the benefits, also monetize it. That's not a problem. I mean, earlier it was very difficult to really justify because you don't have the real-time data available. Somebody can make a report offline and then show you something, some good picture, but sometimes it may not be that in reality. But today it's possible that you see the improvements in real time. You can take action, you can improve it. So the technologies are there. I think here this is the main thing. As a technology provider like us, Hitachi ABB, Power Grids, and Siemens, and all, we have all the technologies, and also I think it's all about to make this business model. And also, what happens? The discoms sometimes they have capex issue. I mean, they can't invest in that because. But at the same time, there are companies, the venture companies, which are willing to actually invest and convert this capex to opex for the discoms. So that's an enabler. Technology is there. You have capex to opex model also there, and it is now only intent and also have the policy in place to make it happen.
Can you detail about cybersecurity in substation? The question is from Mr. R. Anand.
One has to first of all assess the, let's say, vulnerability we have. If you have a substation which is not really digital, it has all electromechanical equipment, then the, let's say, threats are different as compared to a substation with a lot of, let's say, connections to the external world. And cybersecurity is starting from devices with cybersecurity features incorporated. Depend again. That's why I said we need to see what fits where. But it is important that that the grid is secure from any unwanted activity, whether by people with malicious intention, whether people by let's say other purposes. It is important that the cybersecurity becomes a part of our thinking when we talk about digital substation. But of course, the extent of deployment will depend on what all we are going to do in a particular case. And there are a lot of, let's say now, white papers and standards available, which can also help people, let's say, with ideas on how to do this.
How do you assess which kind of technology frame to go for? Mr. Imtiaz, would you like to address this question?
It depends upon many things, It depends upon the kind of capex that we have. It also depends upon what kind of consumer base you have. Making these things work in an urban environment would be much easier than a rural environment. So it really depends upon many things. But coming back to the first question of cybersecurity, I would say we must need to learn from some of the smart utilities worldwide. Like say, for example, I would typically give you an example of Singapore Grid.
Right.
Singapore Grid is one of the most forward-looking utility I have seen in my life, where they are trying to monitor everything, and at the same time they have the highest level of cybersecurity available in their system. So you cannot tamper their system at all. But at the same time, they are not restricting themselves from going for a monitoring of right from a small, medium voltage and low voltage substation to extra high voltage substation. They are monitoring everything. So we need to make the correct assessment of what we need And if we really want to move forward, we will find the solutions. There are solution providers available, and you can collaborate with that. And in India, we have to, we have to have leaders and technology person in the role of leadership in the state utilities, because I have seen that the state utilities which has good leader have changed the entire dimension of their utility. And I would not hesitate in taking the name of Mr. Negise, for example, who did revolutionize the JETCO during his tenure. And if we have, the same kind of leaders in other state utilities, I wonder why we can't do the same. So it also requires a lot of willpower. It also requires a lot of vision, and it also requires a lot of passion to find people to support these initiatives that you are taking. So now world is moving more towards unconventional sources, and if you have passion, you will find a collaborator. I can assure you on this. And Mr. Rahman has also said that now venture capitalists are ready to invest in even the modernization of DISCOM sectors. But then you will have to do your homework to show them the ROI. And number of years it will take to reach to that ROI, and you will definitely find someone who will be ready to invest money also into this.
Seeing the way the distribution companies are facing problems, do you think that venture capitalists will be interested in investing?
See, in spite of all these things, World Bank has been investing money, So if you take the concept of what World Bank is doing, and if you take some kind of ROI involved in that is possible. But then, as I said, see, if you compare, we have private utilities and we have government utilities. Even private utilities are, if they are running the system properly, they are making money. I mean, you see how Tata Power is changed the scenario of Delhi. They are into distribution, and they are investing in the latest technology at the same time. So it's not that the willpower is required, the passion is required, and the idea to transform something that you take is required.
Do you see wireless technology catching up where equipments and information directly to cloud servers? So that's, I think, happening.
So this is a very important topic, because when we talk about digitalization, so where you already have the assets, you have the installation in place, so you don't have, let's say, possibility of laying the fiber optic or maybe Ethernet cables and all. And also it takes time and a lot of work there, but industrial wireless has been there, like as Hitachi ABB Power Grids, we have technology called mesh technology, Tropos. It's like a highly available network you can use in industrial environment, even in the remotest area of oil fields and also the mines, you can use it. There are a lot of cases there. So it works on mesh technology, by which any node, any router, if it is failing or malfunctioning, the other router, other gateway takes over in a real-time scenario. So you don't lose the signal, you don't lose the data coming to your SCADA system or asset management performance system. So there are installations already there, like in India as well as abroad. As I said, in utilities, in mines, in oil fields, it is there. I think the other one is also the LoRa technology, the low long range and low power technology, which is also used for the assets in distribution utilities. Some of the utilities have started that, like Tata Power, they have started with some prototype. We also have been, supporting them in that. I think that's a very fastest way to really get into the digitalization, because very important is that not only having the sensors, but also having the data available elsewhere, whether in the substation or maybe in the corporate office or maybe elsewhere you get the data. I think this technology is going to be very important.
Right. So when we are dealing with such big data,
cybersecurity is a topic which we need to address based on what we intend deploying. Whether it is, using devices with cybersecurity implemented is one, especially when we are connecting these devices to the external world. Then we have, let's say, also other methods deployed, whether it is in a control center, whether it is in also making sure that, say, let's say, authorization controls and a lot of other features are implemented. It definitely cybersecurity is important, and I also saw somebody writing about ransomware causing some problems and all that. You're right. So it depends on our implementation of the technology, that where all you need to adapt and put standards. Of course, technology is available to solve cybersecurity topics, and that starts also from the device. That's where how we need to see.
So as Mr. Srikumar said, the technology is available, solutions are available. It's all about how the utilities, the owners, operators, they are going to pay for it. See, cybersecurity doesn't come free. I mean, I'm not saying as a supplier that we have to make business out of it. Just imagine our own home PC, home laptop, or even our office laptop, office network. We don't realize we pay every year fees for the antivirus, for the firewall, for the network security and all. We don't see that. It comes somewhere in the finance department, they pay every year. So if we don't do that, you have the risk. Your home PC, for example, you may not subscribe to antivirus, but you are okay with that. Okay, even if it shuts down, I have to restart, fine. But this is not allowed in our utility system. Not for a second, the laptop or the PC, the workstation in a substation automation or SLD should restart. It should be fault tolerant. Yeah. Even if there is attack, cybersecurity attack, even there is a malware, the system should run, not even for millisecond, it should interrupt. Then somebody has to look at that. We need to have cybersecurity in place, all the measures in place, and it has to be continuously updated. The software, the patches, the antivirus, the hardening of the system, it has to be done continuously. Now you are secure, maybe after 10 minutes, there is a new virus which is coming in the system, which will affect you badly. I mean, as individual, as home use, we are okay. I mean, fine. I'll restart my machine. Yeah. So the availability of the system in utility, we are talking about substation. It has to be 99.999%. Even a small attack, malware should not affect that. And for that, we have to have measure in place. And it starts with, I think, the device level security, communication between the devices, controllers, entire SCADA, entire system. And it has to be also done in a defense in depth way, that you try to protect your core. Even if there is attack, even if there is malware, the core is still working. The substation automation, the network I showed in my presentation, the diagram. So that is still there. So then you create a ring outside that, like a defense in depth, which comes from the defense. So then that, okay, I want to spend the maximum effort, time, and measure in the core, because that is my important. If that fails, maybe the entire state will go for blackout. Yeah? Even a small cybersecurity incident. I think it's, again, I'm coming to that. I think it's all about business sense in this. So unfortunately, many utilities, they always see that, okay, if I buy a automation system, SCADA or even IoT, it should run for 5 years. I don't have to pay anything. I don't have to do anything. That's not the case. When you are dealing with software automation, you have to be always updating the software, updating your profiles, also doing the hardening from time to time, doing the assessment, having the threat model also in place time to time, because the hackers are much faster than the solution providers. Yeah. They will find out the flaws, vulnerability in your system. Even a small hack can lead to disaster.
Thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on modernizing Indian substation. The session was powered by Altanova Group. Delegates, we hope you have enjoyed the session thoroughly. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelist, Mr. K.N. Srikumar, Mr. Akhilur Rahman, and Mr. Imtiaz Siddiqui. I would also like to thank my editor, Mr. Prasad Nair, for taking this initiative. We once again thank our sponsor for this session, Altanova Group. So thanks to all the delegates and viewers. So that's the end of today's session. I request you to stay tuned for more such sessions. Thank you and goodbye.